What's up, English 2? It's great to kind of be here with you guys today, even though I'm not really here. I'm with you guys in spirit. But speaking of spirits, Feliz Dia de los Muertos, Happy Day of the Dead to all of you. That's why we've had our ofrenda going. And if any of you guys brought anything else to add to it, feel free to add to it, even if it's just for today, which today is actually Dia de los Muertos, so you're right on time. But anyways, in honor of that, in honor of all of our ancestors who have passed away and who have made us who we are today, I want you to think about someone in your life that may have passed away and write about them, describe them, and then what made them important to you and how do you honor them in your day-to-day life, or even how do you honor them today or in your own ofrendas at home or as part of mine. And then if you don't have someone to write about, maybe you don't have anyone in your life who's passed away, think about what would you like to be remembered for when you pass away. Okay, I know that sounds a little morbid, but we all want to leave some kind of legacy at one point. And what is something that you'd like people to include if they were to add you to their ofrenda, to their altar? Okay, what is something that is important to you? Things that you like, things that you like to eat, you like to do. What is something that you would like to be in your ofrenda in the future? Okay, so take about 10 minutes to write about this. I'll have the sub go ahead and pause the video for now and then resume when you guys are ready to continue. Okie dokie, so let's go ahead and go on to today's assignment. So as you guys may very well know, because all of you guys were here yesterday except for one person, but we finished reading There Will Come Soft Rains by Ray Bradbury, which I'm pretty sure you guys all enjoyed. I definitely always enjoy this story. It's one of my absolute favorites. There's a lot of imagery, there's conflict, there's, both internal and external conflict, as well as personification all over the place. Okay, and not only that, but it talks about or brings together two of my favorite things, which is science fiction and history, because it talks about, this historic event that happened with the atomic bomb and the era of fear with like the Cold War, as well as the end of World War II, with all these weapons of mass destruction and how people were very afraid. Okay, so remember those things in terms of themes, in terms of things that were important that Ray Bradbury was trying to teach us with his story. There Will Come Soft Rains. But you guys started this what's it called? This matrix, if you will, this graphic organizer a few days ago. You guys all decided to focus on personification. I bet some of you guys are now wishing you would have done imagery because, as you guys very well know, there is so much imagery in this story, but there's also a lot of personification. So you should have three different examples from the text already, but if you don't, then you're going to have to work extra hard to catch up today, because by the end of today, before you guys leave, I want you guys to finish all of the boxes on the back. So you should have a whole bunch of textual examples, as well as your own paraphrase, which means you're putting this text example in your own words. And then finally, what effect does that example of personification have on you, the reader, or me, the reader? Why would Ray Bradbury personify that thing or that object in that way? What does he want you to feel? What does he want you to hear? What does he want you to think about as you are reading, the fact that the house has like a throat and it's gargling or whatever it is. Okay, so please finish that whole worksheet front and back. Make sure your name's on it before you leave today. Turn it in. And then as soon as you are done, you may go see the sub. He's going to give you a copy of a mask, which you're going to be working on today. You're going to be working on coloring it in and drawing things on it. And what you're going to be working on in terms of drawing is things around symbolism. So our next story that we're going to read has a lot of, all these other things as well. Personification. Obviously, there's themes in that story that we will talk about. There's imagery. There's all of this kind of stuff. There's also horror. It's a great story. It's by Edgar Allan Poe, by the way, so spoiler alert. But there's also a lot of symbols. So in literature, there's always symbols because that's kind of what makes, literature interesting. So symbolism is when you use symbols or other objects to represent qualities or ideas. So, for example, a dove usually represents innocence or purity or somebody who is just very good. Okay, when you have something like the American flag or a bald eagle, it usually represents freedom or someone's love for their country, and in some places it might even represent fear because for certain communities, it might, when you see an American flag or a bald eagle, it might be fearful. Okay. And then another thing that you can also think about is the heart. So the heart, it represents love, right? So this is a symbol. These are all symbols that represent some kind of quality or a different idea than what is actually here. Okay. So what I have done is I have provided you guys with two different websites. One is this one, which is specific to the story, The Mask of the Red Death, the symbolism in it. So I want you to go through and I want you to read through the symbols. So this is the Red Death, the castle, Prince Prospero, the ebony clock. There are 7 rooms in this and what all these colors may mean. Okay, so there's that one, and then there's another one also on color symbolism in literature. So oftentimes when we read things that are our stories, it's literature, not so much as like informational text. When you see a color, more often than not, it represents something. So this is a really good website that talks about the meaning of color in stories. Okay, so it's even different in terms of where you go or where you are reading that story from. So French, fairy tales, Gothic literature. So this is where I want you guys to focus. Okay, because we're going to be reading Edgar Allan Poe, who is a Gothic writer. Okay, so what red means, black. Okay, but also look at these other ones because you're going to see all these colors, and there's also the colors in here. Okay, so what do these all mean? Yellow, etc., etc. Make sure you understand them. And what I want you to do is whatever of these symbols represent you or that you're thinking about, or even you can talk about some other kinds of symbols that may not be here. So if you even want to talk about something like these right here, right, a dove or a heart or whatever, I want you to decorate your mask according to these symbols and make sure that everything that you put on your mask is for a reason, right? So if let's look at the symbolism of the color yellow, for example. So yellow is associated with joy, happiness, intellect, and energy. It also represents honor, loyalty, and it stimulates mental activity. Okay, so it may also associate it with cowardice or mental illness, and so you might avoid using this color if you want to portray stability and safety in your work. Okay, so if these are the things that you are identifying with, right? If you're usually happy and joyful and you have a lot of energy, but at the same time, you're trying to make sure that you're portraying yourself as someone who is stable and very loyal or whatever it is, then you might want to make sure that there is some yellow on your mask. Okay, so your mask is going to be colored in, and there's going to be a few pictures or a few symbols in there. Okay, remember all the colors are symbols as well. And on the reverse, I want you to explain each of these colors and symbols that you use on your mask and why you use them. What do those say about you? And you're just going to write maybe about 1 sentence for each of your symbols and each of your colors. And that's going to be your assignment for today, or your 2 assignments. So make sure that you have turned in that mask, colored in with your symbols. Make sure your name's on it, as well as please turn in that graphic organizer with your filled in with the personification, examples, paraphrase, and effects from the story on page 283 that we finished reading yesterday. So please be on your best behavior. You guys know what happens if your name gets left behind because you're either unproductive or you're giving the sub a hard time. I will be having you come in for lunch detention next week. That would be pretty awful to start off the week as. So please make sure that you are doing you, do your own thing. Take care of yourself, discipline yourself so that nobody else has to, as well as help each other out. Be of service to others. Okay, never forget my rules and the fact that we are here as a community. All right, so I hope you guys have a nice weekend. I will see you guys on Monday when I come back. If you guys have any questions, you guys may post on Google Classroom. I usually answer those pretty quickly. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.